Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, the host of the Business Talk Library, and today I have another special guest on. Now, the reason why I say this guest is special because, as the audience knows, I'm in accounting and finance, so it's always great to talk to other finance professionals. So, I definitely want to welcome to the show Mr. Mark Jacob. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much. How you doing?
I am great. I'm great. Now, before we jump directly into CFO Hub and the great work that you guys are doing there, tell us a little bit about your background.
My background, I was an accounting major in college, graduated from San Diego State. All of our leadership team here at CFO Hub, we are proud San Diego State Aztecs, go Aztecs. And so all of my career has been in public accounting until I pivoted into consulting. So, was in public accounting for about 7, 8 years, 6 or 7 years too long in public accounting, in my opinion, for myself. Took a little bit of a turn working as a musician, as you can see in the background. But yeah, that is my background. And so once I made the pivot into consulting, met up with Jack and eventually evolved into CFO Hub, where we're currently at.
Gotcha, gotcha. Now, when it came down to CFO Hub, I mean, was that kind of your, a planned strategy of, hey, I want to get the public accounting and then go do my own consulting?
Um, I think it's the dream of every person in accounting. When we're in accounting school, a lot of our professors drive us saying, "Hey, you're going to be a partner one day at a CPA firm or something like that." That's what we're driven to, and so indirectly, we're driven to entrepreneurship, even though we are trained to count beans in accounting school. But my ultimate dream was to run my own business. That's why I went into accounting school. CFO Hub actually was. Started off as a CPA firm. It wasn't a consulting firm to begin with. When Jack started the company, he was by himself and needed some assistance, and that's where I came in. I was doing that musician life. I wanted to get back into accounting to just kind of get that part of my brain working again, and so we were doing CPA firm type of work, and we decided, hey, the need isn't necessarily, at least within our client base, within CPA firm type work, which it was actually consulting work. And so that's why the pivot was made into that sense. And so, yeah, that's how we came about.
Gotcha, gotcha. Now, how was that process of transitioning from just being a CPA firm to being, CFO Hub? Because that's something that I think is very interesting for a lot of people is like, how do you distinguish? What's the difference between just a regular CPA firm and CFO Hub?
So the thing is with traditional CPA firms are great. Anybody listening out there that is questioning whether or not they should go work in public accounting, there you can't go wrong. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of long hours, but it's a badge of honor that you can walk with you all throughout your career and say you've worked in public accounting. But when we decided to transition from the CPA firm services to consulting firm services, the reason being is that CPA firms, just by the virtue of a CPA license, you can only do certain things. You can only work with clients a certain way, right? CPA firms, especially when you're providing assurance services, you can't touch their financials before you even do an audit or even really assist them in any way. And so a lot of our clients, they were looking for our help as consulting CFOs, as consulting controllers. And we decided, hey, rather than try to put them under a microscope and try to find things that are wrong, we wanted to be the ones that are there to help them build the financial models, help them go through rounds of funding, help them go through sales. And so by us transitioning to CFO Hub in the consulting CFO controller services, we're able to do that because as CPAs, the licenses are great. Many of our team members are CPAs, but we just said, hey, it precludes us from doing what we really want to do, which is help our clients. And for our clients, they really do see us as partners and as helping them grow their company.
Awesome, awesome. So, what was it like? I mean, when you came on board, like I said, the original founder was doing a CPA firm. What was that process like? Of like, really, did you have to go through a lot of rebranding when it was time to change from a CPA firm to a CFO?
There was a little bit of rebranding. Obviously, there was a name change. It used to, before it was essentially Jack's name, Jack, our CEO, he made it J. Perkins and Associates, J. Perkins and Associate, aka me working part-time with him. Um, and then transitioning, and we had this whole debate, what name are we going to choose? Oh my gosh, we got to figure out some cool name. And eventually CFO Hub, it evolved into that. But the rebranding was, it wasn't too bad for us because we had our handful of clients that knew us well, that a few of them were having us do tax returns. And so those clients, we just said, hey, we're not doing these services anymore. We've partnered up with other CPA firms that we have great relationships with that we can actually pass off to them. So that transition actually was pretty nice for us because we were able to build partnerships with CPA firms to provide to essentially offload those services to them, provide them with new business, and allow us to take on more business that we just couldn't take on before. So that rebranding was actually pretty nice, and a lot of our clients welcomed it quite a bit.
Awesome, awesome. So when you think about, the CFO, hub, and a lot of people are familiar, especially people who are of an accounting and finance background, they may be familiar with the technical side of, the type of work that you do. But what has that journey been like, being a leader and actually building a business around this type of skill set?
Yeah. It's funny because by nature, what we do is technical, right? What we do is technical, and we're doing accounting, but the real, for us, the consulting part of it is um, making the data that we are putting together and that we're helping our clients with, having it be useful data and actually helping them walk through it, and building that business off of that, because we're taking something that is so technical and not necessarily dumbing it down, but having it digestible, because sometimes we'll come in and there's a lot of technical things in the background that we do need to get done, but there is this ultimate goal that we have this onboarding call with all of our clients and say, hey, what's kind of the goal that you want? Sometimes it's something as simple as, we haven't closed our books for 8 months. We need help. We want to get that done because our board members are saying, hey, we need to get our books closed. And we have to talk to not only the CEO of the company, but also the board. And so growing our company around that, and having all these technical individuals within our team that can do that have some crazy accounting skills, having them understand that, hey, we're not just accountants, right? Every time right before this call, I had a candidate call, somebody who wanted to join our team. I told them, I said, hey, we're not accountants, we're consultants. We're here to help. We're not here to just crunch numbers. And so having people understand that we're here to help in more ways than just accounting is kind of what we've built CFO Hub on.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, one of those things that is always interesting is when you have someone who was, kind of there, you saw the infant stages at the beginning, you've been around through the journey. When you think about just kind of the future of where CFO Hub is going, what are some of the thoughts that you guys have as far as where you guys want to take the organization?
Yeah, and so I've seen, obviously, I was employee number 2 at CFO Hub, and not only it's great with, because of just what we do, we've seen ourselves grow, CFO Hub grow, as well as a lot of our clients. And so our hope is to have the finance industry see the need of consulting CFOs, right? Right at the very beginning, in the infancy of CFO Hub, we started realizing that the industry and the business world, they've been so set in their ways of, this is how this is how organizations are run. There's a full-time CEO, there's a full-time CFO, there's a full-time COO. But sometimes these CFOs can be complacent, and they get bored in their job. They have a great gig, but it can get boring sometimes. And so having the industry understand, for us, I was saying, I feel like we need to educate the industry and say, hey, there are consulting CFOs out there where if you don't need a CFO 24/7 for your company.
Mhm.
And so eventually, on our journey right now, educating the overall industry and growing the company at the same time. Right now, we're located here in San Diego. We have a satellite office in Orange County. We're looking to expand. We have clients all over the place. And who knows, right now, we have expanded into HR services because there is kind of a blurred line between HR and accounting. And so we do have an HR generalist on our team that does HR services within CFO Hub. And so CFO Hub can go in so many different directions because of the breadth of what the finance function of a company does. And so the sky's the limit for us. And as we see opportunities, we hope to take those opportunities on, just like we took on, the consulting world.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, with so many great things that you guys are doing, in your own company as well as in the industry as a whole, where can people find you guys online or on social media?
So on social media, first of all, LinkedIn is our friend. I'm sure everybody in business does. So you go on LinkedIn, you can find CFO Hub there. We're up on cfohub.com, obviously, as well. But we also have an Instagram. We're trying to get our Instagram up and going. And we also have a Twitter, CFO Hub. So everything across the board, Twitter, Instagram, website, everything. Search CFO Hub, Google CFO Hub will be the first one there. So.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I know I want to respect your time because I know you're a very busy man. So the last question that I like to ask every guest that comes onto the show is when you think about your journey and you think about, kind of where you've been and when you think about, your skill set, what's two pieces of advice that you would give to other entrepreneurs from the perspective of a CFO?
From the perspective of a CFO, what I would say is keep the dream in mind, right? Keep the dream in mind because a lot of us CFOs, we get mired in the financials and we want to make sure the balance sheet balances and all of that. And we get very technical because it's just who we are and what we do and what we've been trained to do. But those numbers are supposed to translate into something and are supposed to mean something and give us data to do something. And so keep the dream in mind. Look at long term what you're trying to do with what you're working on, right? And number two, that's a hard one. I would say, I don't know, keep working, work hard. That for some reason, that's the first thing that came to mind recently because our team, we're looking at what's next for CFO Hub, and we were looking at how hard we work, and we thought we worked hard, but you never know. Hard work means a lot of things for different people, but work your hardest. That's all I can say.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show, for sharing a little bit more about CFO Hub, the story, the journey. Really respect anyone that can, like I said, come in as employee number two and just help it grow through the journey. And thanks so much for coming on the show, Mark.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to the Business Talk Library. If you like our content, be sure to follow us on social media. And if you want to see more of our exclusive content, you can subscribe and become a member on patreon.com/Business Talk Library. Hey, the Business Talk Library is the place where business makes sense.